non-static block, suppose I define some new data type, B3, like integer a is equal to new integer 5, and I want to perform some operation on a in the constructor, like a plus plus.
But that is defined and initialized in your non-static block.
Non-static, yeah.
You can do so because your non-static block is executed by a constructor only.
Okay. And if I do the reverse thing,
if you
I define it in define in the constructor and want to increment it in the block.
No, that will not be possible because reverse is not possible. First, your constructor is initializing in that your non-static.
Okay, in the reverse cases, which type of exception will be there?
Yeah, in reverse it will be there. Exception will be there.
Which type of exception? It's a compile time, it's an exception, it's an error, it's a throw. Well,
exception, which type of exception will be there, I'm not sure of, but it will be runtime exception. I think so.
Okay, all right. Suppose I have a class, okay?
Okay.
In the class, I have two methods, which is used to add some integer. They do the addition of the integers, okay?
Okay.
So method signature is public int sum bracket start integer a comma integer b, and the second method is public int sum bracket start int a comma int b. So both the methods are exactly same. Number of arguments are exactly same. Return type is exactly same. Access modifier is exactly same. The only difference is the data type of the arguments. In one of the methods, data type of the arguments is integer. In the second method, the data type of the arguments is int.
Okay. Yeah, you can define like that.
Okay. If I create the object of the class and I call the sum method, like int a is equal to sum int a is equal to sum 5, 6.
Int a is equal to sum 5, 6.
6. Which one will be called?
Okay, there is a concept of widening here, widening and boxing. Okay, you have an object, you have a primitive type, and you're calling the method, and you're passing the integer, right? Then the method with the primitive type will take the precedence.
Okay. If I call the method like sum, I'm defining int a is equal to 5, integer b is equal to 6.
Integer a is equal to, you are defining the object, you are saying?
Yeah, I'm defining the object int a is equal to 5.
Okay.
Integer b is equal to 6.
And then you're passing this as an argument.
Yeah, this as well.
Then the one with the your object argument will take the precedence. It will box. It will box auto box your integer primitive type of and another one is already an object.
Why it is doing boxing? Why it is not doing unboxing?
Because boxing beats the widening.
Okay.
Not clear on it right now, but I assume it works that way.
Okay. Okay, all right, no issues. Okay. Can you name the principle which is being used here?
Principle
like defining the two methods with the same name and same signature.
It is
same name but different.
Overloading.
Overloading. Okay. All right. What is the difference between the wait and sleep method?
Wait and sleep method.
Yes.
Okay. So the sleep method you will basically use to pause your thread for a specific amount of time. Okay. But
Okay.
the wait method, firstly, the wait method you will use in a synchronization block where the restricted access is there. And secondly, wait is for the indefinite amount of time until the another thread notifies that you can use the current object.
Okay.
So sleep method does not have any dependency of any other thread. It is independent, but wait method has dependency on other threads to get notified to resume the operation.
Okay. What all exceptions they can throw?
What is the exception which sleep throws?
Sleep and wait.
It is interrupted exception.
Interpreted. Only one.
Uh, Interrupted exception I can recall of, and the other is wait method throws one more.
Earlier you have mentioned that sleep method can be called from anywhere, and wait method should be called within a synchronized block.
Yes.
If I don't do it, if I call it outside of the synchronized block,
Then there will be a compile time exception.
compile time exception. Okay. Are you sure about this?
I'm not sure about it. I'm not sure that whether there will be a compile time or runtime exception, but definitely there will be an exception.
Okay. And where these methods are defined, means where is the concrete implementation of these methods?
The wait method, wait notify all is defined in the object class. And the sleep method, it is defined in your thread class.
Okay. Suppose I call thread.sleep, okay, on my Java. Suppose there is a statement number 1, something else, a is equal to a plus plus. The statement number b is equal to thread.sleep, something else. And the statement number c is equal to sysout a.
Statement number 3.
Number 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the
number
second
3 is equal to sysout. Number second is thread.sleep, and number
Okay.
1 is a is equal to a plus plus.
Okay.
Okay. So can you tell me the state of the threads between in the state 1, 2, and 3? Statement number 1, 2, 3.
Okay. So it is a single thread. First, the statement number 1 will be executed. Whatever the operation will be there, it will be performed. When the statement number 2 will be executed, thread will go into the pause state. I will assume that it is a main thread, so it will halt for given specific number of time, specific time duration. And
Okay.
once that time duration passes, the third statement will be executed. The sysout will be printed on the console.
So how transition happens between the thread state?
How
From
transition?
executing to pause and pause to executing. This is the only transition.
No, you are asking about the transition between the states of the thread.
Yeah, thread state. Whenever I call where to select, definitely thread state changes.
Yeah, there will be.
So there should be some transition in the state of the thread.
Yes. So
I just want to draw that transition.
Okay. So specifically speaking about when you are calling these methods and assuming that thread is already in running state, if you call the wait method, then then the thread will go in non-running state, blocking state. Okay. And once other thread notifies all, this thread gets the notification that it can start, but it will not immediately start. It will now be depending upon it will be now depend upon the thread scheduler, then when to start this thread. It will be in non-blocking state only.
Okay.
Now, in case of sleep method, when you will call sleep, it will go in non-running state, and once the sleep is over, it will immediately start the execution.
Okay. What do you understand the problem of the starvation?
Problem of starvation.
Yeah.
Yes, in thread concept, there are two basic problems. One is of starvation and another is of deadlock. So starvation is the thread is waiting for indefinite amount of time, Mm,
Thread is waiting indefinite amount of time, but how it can happen?
how it will happen? The scenario, let me recall.
Yeah, any scenario.
I'm recalling. Any scenario I cannot recall at the moment.
Okay, so what you will do to mitigate this problem?
I will basically provide a time duration till which a thread can wait or pause.
Okay,
Although depending upon the scenarios which I am implementing, but if I
okay.
am sure of that there can be a scenario of starvation, then I will basically provide the time
Suppose
duration.
there is a producer consumer problem. Okay, but
Okay.
in the producer consumer problem, producer produces some goods sometimes after 2 days, sometime after 20 days, sometime after 25 days.
Okay.
So in those cases, how you will specify the wait duration?
In producer consumer problem, we cannot specify the duration because if we specify the duration in the wait, then there could be
Okay,
problems.
okay. Let's come to the first question. Can problem of starvation occur in producer consumer problem?
In producer consumer problem, um, uh, one thing I'm getting confused here is starvation and deadlock is same. In producer consumer, there will definitely be a deadlock if it is not handled properly.
Okay,
I'm not sure starvation is the same thing or not.
okay. Okay, all right, no issues.
But in producer consumer, if proper attention is not paid, then there can be a situation of a deadlock.
Okay. What is the difference when I take a lock on the when I define a static synchronized block or when I define a static block? Oh, synchronized block and static synchronized block.
Uh, the way in which the lock is acquired, that will be different. If you define a synchronized block, then the lock is acquired on the object. And if any other thread tries to access any other synchronized method, then it will not be able to do so. Okay.
Okay.
Now, if you specify a static synchronized block, then the lock which is acquired, it will be on the your class level. So if your any other thread tries to access any other static content of the class, then it will not be able to do so.
Okay. Whenever a thread gains a lock,
Hmm.
where this information is stored in Java?
Whenever the thread gets a lock, where this information is stored in Java.
Yeah.
In thread
Actually,
class,
it should be stored somewhere.
yeah, from thread class you can get the information.
From thread class.
Yeah.
Okay, but thread class is specific to a current thread.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it will
Suppose
get.
there are two threads. You are thread 1, I'm thread 2, and we both are trying to access object 1. Okay, you got
Okay.
the lock.
Okay.
So according to you, your class, that is thread 1, contains all
Yeah.
the information.
Yes.
Okay. When I go to take the lock on the same object, how will I know that you have already taken the lock?
Mm, mm. In thread, I'm aware of holds lock concept that we can check with the holds lock of an object. But in other thread, if you want to check,
Which method you were talking about?
I'm talking about the holds lock method. That there is a holds lock method with which we
Okay.
can check that current thread is
But
having the lock of an object.
hold stored only tells you that current thread
Yeah,
contains the
current
lock
thread.
on the given object or not.
Correct. If you want to check from a different thread, then
Here the scenario is that we want to check that this object is already being logged by some other thread or not.
yeah. I'm not aware of. Is there any method in by which we can check in other thread? There should be a method in object then by which we can check.
How would you rate yourself in multi-threading so that we should proceed further with multi-threaded part?
I will rate myself 6.
Okay. Okay. Have you used the executors in Java?
Yes, the in
How many types of executors are there?
uh, uh, by executor, do you mean the synchronizers?
Yes. Thread pool, I want to say thread pool executors.
Yes. So in that, I have used the executor service. That one.
Okay.
Uh,
So in the executors class, there are some methods to create different types of thread pool executors.
yes.
Okay. So how many thread pool executors, how many types of thread pool executors you can create using inbuilt library?
Okay. Executors. You can create a single thread executor. A
Okay.
single threaded executor. Then you can create a fixed pool of executors. So it will
Okay.
depend upon the number of arguments. That many number of
Okay.
pools will be created. And other than that, I have used. I think there is something cached. There is one cached
Which one,
also.
which one you have used?
I have used fixed thread pool, new fixed thread pool.
New fixed thread pool only.
That one we have used.
You didn't use the single threaded.
No, that we haven't used. I am just aware of that there is one such executor as well.
Okay. So can you tell me why should I use the single threaded thread pool executor? I could submit the task directly to the single thread if it is single.
Uh, if yeah, there is one basic difference in this concept that if you perform a task by a single thread, so in a single thread you can start your thread only once, and again if you want to perform an operation with the same thread, you cannot start it again. But if you
Okay.
use the executor, it will continuously run. It can continue execute the same thread and number of times till your task gets completed.
Okay.
So in this scenario, you can use single threaded executor.
Okay. So you have talked that you have used the new fixed thread pool executors.
Yes.
Okay. So when you create the new fixed thread pool executor, you have to define some parameters.
Yes.
Can you name those parameters and explain each of them?
Okay. So there can be two possible ways by which you can create the new fixed thread pool. One is the single argument. So in that single argument, you will basically pass the number of threads which you want to be executed. Okay.
Okay.
So the size of the thread. There can
Okay.
be another way as well. So in that another way, you can first define your size of the thread pool, and there is one more argument. I think thread factory you can pass to it.
Okay. What is the use of the thread factory?
Thread factory, I'm not much aware of because we haven't used it. We have used the previous one.
Okay. What do you understand by the thread local class?
Thread local class.
Yeah.
Uh, Thread local class, I'm not aware of.
Okay. Suppose you have a multi-threaded application, okay,
Okay. Okay.
and each and every thread contains a session ID, different session ID.
Different session ID which is specific to that thread.
One thread, okay, yeah. So you need some way to stick that ID, session ID,
To
with each
extract
thread.
that session ID.
Yeah. So you want to stick that session ID first with the thread, and the second case is you want to extract that. First of all, you have to stick that information with the thread.
Yeah, we can do so with the implementation of callable interface.
Okay.
So in callable, we have a concept where, as in a runnable, we have run method. In callable, we have call method. So it has the same method structure. Just the difference is in run it returns void. In call it returns the object. So when you're performing your task, you can get the object. So in that object, you can return the session ID.